I unplugged from the matrix to save my sobriety. I was 93 days sober when a breaking news alert I couldn't fix lit up my phone. By sunset, I had relapsed. One headline, one scroll, then one drink. That night, I realized something unsettling. The feed wasn't just wasting my time. It was stealing my hard-fought recovery. So, I pulled the plug. Completely. No socials, no doom scrolling, no cable news. I traded the screen for soil, pavement, and 9 p.m. bedtime. This is what happened to my brain, my cravings, and the 68 sober days that followed. Section 1, the relapse loop. The booze didn't magically jump into my glass. It was coaxed by a perfect storm of digital triggers. A push notification to raise my cortisol. A comment thread to make me feel worthless. And an algorithm that knew exactly which emotional bruise to poke. Researchers at the University of Pennsylvania found that cutting social media to 30 minutes a day can significantly drop anxiety. I couldn't last 3 hours. Every time I fought back, the feed would hit me with outrage, comparison, or that well-deserved drink meme. It was relentless. Sobriety kept slipping through that digital crack. This behavioral addiction, the compulsive use, the mental preoccupation, was a recipe for disaster in my recovery. Section 2, hitting the kill switch. One Tuesday at 5 a.m., shaky and riddled with anxiety, something snapped. I tossed my phone, my digital leash, into a drawer. I drove to the hardware store and bought a $9.99 old-school alarm clock, deleted every social app. I called to friends and said, if the world actually ends, call the landline then. The most liberating act. I gave myself permission for the experiment to be indefinite. The first 48 hours were like withdrawal. My thumb had phantom limb syndrome, still trying to scroll the air. My brain was a buzzing hive searching for a hit. By day 3, the noise in my head dropped by half. And for the first time since college, I slept 9 hours straight. My nervous system finally exhaled. Section 3, gardening as accidental meditation. I never planned to be the guy who talks to tomatoes. I just needed a hobby that couldn't crash or trigger a breakdown like the news. So I built 3 small garden boxes. Turns out, nature had a plan. Soil contains Mycobacterium vaccae, a bacterium that stimulates serotonin production, like nature's own antidepressant. Every time my hands were in the dirt, I felt a biological shift. Watering the plants became a grounding ritual. My mantra was simple: roots or relapse. What am I growing today? It was a purposeful activity that filled the void, built self-worth, and taught me the patience that recovery demands. Section 4, sleep as a sobriety superpower. At first, midnight doom scrolling kept my brain lit up like a stadium. After I adopted a farmer's schedule, lights out by 9, wake up at 5, the National Sleep Foundation says each hour of lost sleep can increase relapse probability by 8%. My result? 8 full hours of sleep cut my cravings by roughly 40%. My brain, no longer overstimulated, could finally heal. If sobriety is a Jenga tower, then sleep is the bottom block. Pull it, and everything wobbles. It was critical for regulating my emotions and building resilience against daily stress. Section 5, sweat therapy. I used to think exercise required a fancy gym. Turns out it just needs consistency. I started small, a 2-mile walk each morning. Then I added push-ups. Eventually I got a $20 kettlebell. No frills, just function. The American Journal of Psychiatry reports that regular workouts can reduce relapse rates by 25%. My personal metric was even simpler. Days I moved, I didn't drink. Days I didn't, it was a struggle with cravings. Exercise became my mood booster, stress reliever, and a cornerstone of my daily defense. Section 6. The first 30 days. Week 1 was boredom rehab. My brain screamed for input, and the silence was deafening. In week 2, that silence became space. I started journaling, pouring out everything the digital noise had drowned out. By week 3, my neighbors were handing me zucchini. I'd become the gardening dude, a welcome, if bizarre, social connection. In week 4, I clocked my first sober month since 2016. My phone stayed in the drawer, its battery dead like a trophy from a war I'd finally stopped fighting. The world hadn't ended. My urge to escape it had. Section 7, socials without the suck. Eventually, I cautiously reintroduced a few platforms. But I had strict rules: desktop only, a grayscale filter, and a 20-minute daily cap. I unfollowed anything that sold fear, outrage, or booze. I now treat every login like stepping into a bar. Know why I'm there, keep my coat on, and leave the second the vibe changes. The goal isn't digital monkhood. It's digital dignity. If an app doesn't serve my recovery, it's not a distraction, it's malware, a threat to my peace. It's about setting firm boundaries that protect my mental space. Pause for a second. If you're nodding along because your thumb has its own scroll reflex, hit that subscribe button. We tackle the digital programming that keeps bad habits alive. Drop soil over screen in the comments so this video finds others who need it. And tell me, what's the strangest place you've seen someone glued to their phone? Section 8, 2 years later. Fast forward over 700 days. I'm still sober. Still gardening, still using that kettlebell. The anxiety isn't gone. That's just being human. But now it's background noise, not a front row heckler. I've replaced breaking news alerts with the sound of tomatoes splitting in the July heat. The Matrix still exists, buzzing away. I just learned to quietly unplug, stepping outside its influence without needing to announce it. Your turn. You don't need a country homestead or a pricey gym to find this peace. You just need a boundary between your brain and the toxic feed. Start small. 1 offline hour. 1 seedling in the windowsill. My brain screamed for input, and the silence was deafening. In week 2, that silence became space. You'll wake up one morning surprised by how quiet the world is and how loud your own resilience sounds when the static dies. If a scroll addict like me can dodge relapse by trading pixels for plants, imagine what you can do. Bet on yourself and press delete on the programming that no longer serves you. Thank you for watching.